What's going on, Graveyard Shift family? It's your fearless shift leader, Dalen, clocked in for another amazing shift. Y'all, I don't know if you can tell, but right now it is a gloomy day in Atlanta, Georgia. But that's not going to stop us. Today we are back at the Oakland Cemetery. The historic Oakland Cemetery, located conveniently off the corner of Martin Luther King Jr. Drive and Oakland Avenue Southeast. You see, the Oakland Cemetery was put here back in 1896. Mind you, the cemetery itself was built in 1896. But I'm gonna take y'all back to the 1850s, and I'm gonna tell you what went on here, and I would love to hear y'all's thoughts. So, here at Oakland Cemetery, you see, shout out to the mayor over there in the back, sitting on top of his grave, doing his thing that he always does, watching over the cemetery. When the Oakland Cemetery was, when this land was first put together, it only had about 6 acres. Okay? Listen, follow me now. The land for this cemetery was only 6 acres. So, when black folks died back then, we're talking about the enslaved people, the city gave them a small portion of land inside of the 6 acres that they had. And it was dedicated for the enslaved people that passed away, right? They called it Slave Square. Slave Square. Mind you, that's only because this land that you see here was only 6 acres. So they felt like they had to put the black folks somewhere, so we just gonna get them a little old corner in this section. Now, this is where it gets even more messed up, city of Atlanta. They bury all these beautiful people into a small corner of this 6 acres. But mind you, that was between, like I said, 1852, 1860s. Now, let's get to like 1870s, right? Y'all, they had buried so many white people around the Slave Square that they was like, look, guys, we need this land right here. So this cemetery, this area, the city expanded it from 6 acres all the way to 48 acres, right? Y'all, they was like, look, man, them slaves over there at Slave Square, they got some prime real estate. Do you know the city dug up every single one of the enslaved people that were buried in Slave Square? The very first person buried there was a boy named John in 1853. This young enslaved boy died and they buried him here. They dug up John and everybody else and literally moved them to a pauper's field at the far back of this 48-acre resting community. And not only did they dig up these people, these beautiful, beautiful former enslaved people, they fixed up the holes, they fixed up the graves, and then they sold those same graves back to white people in Atlanta, Georgia. The price of the grave was $50 and above. So back then, for $50, you could get a pre-used grave from someone who was forcefully removed from their final resting area for the profit of a city. Y'all, man, listen. Y'all, just the history that you start to learn from doing research. You know what I'm saying? While doing research, it's just crazy the things that have happened in life over time that people thought were okay. That is a wild time to think about, that people literally just felt like it was okay to dig up hundreds of people, hundreds of people, and remove them from their resting space to put them in a pauper's field with no more recognition. Come on. I'm gonna show you where these beautiful people are resting now. But one thing that's good about Oakland Cemetery, they do a really good job of telling the history. Telling the history. You know, times were different back then, but morals are morals. Morals in the 1800s, I'm sure, were the same as morals in 2024. I ain't gonna lie, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. But that, again, I think after coming to all these resting communities and seeing how like graves are like left for dead, no pun intended, and not taken care of and moved around over time, it makes me really want to have a mausoleum. And I know, they cost $1 million. But I'm gonna figure that part out. But we're gonna find this potter's, and look at all of the beautiful landscape now that has been brought to life at the Oakland Cemetery in the other side of the 48 acres. None of this stuff was here originally when the enslaved people were buried. So now Oakland Cemetery did have I think what was considered a colored people section in the cemetery for black people, you know, like in the 1900s, getting to the 60s, civil rights, all of that good stuff. But yeah, aside from that, those enslaved people from the 1800s, again, were moved to this pauper's field. Oakland Cemetery is literally one of the most beautiful cemeteries that I've been to. It's like a park, and they're doing renovations now. They're doing renovations. You have resting soldiers over there. Look at the sky. It's a gloomy day in Atlanta. I always feel like we get the best responses or the best interactions when you have days like this. All of the equipment is for the renovations. It's all for the renovations. Man, it seems like if you want your forever after to be well maintained, you have to like take in that consideration when you pick your resting community. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm telling you, y'all have seen how many places have been overgrown and not taken care of, and at one point in time them cemeteries are probably really, really nice. Okay, what is this? I think this is we're getting towards the African American section. Okay, Oakland's African American burial grounds reflect the extent of racial segregation in America. From 1866 until 1963, African Americans could only buy burial plots in this section. Right? Remember, at first, all the black people had were way at the front at the original 6 acres. That was in the 1850 through 1860s. They then moved those people out in the 1870s and put them in the pauper's field over here. But this section, from the mid 1860s to, you know, the middle 1960s, this is the only area that black people could be buried in this cemetery. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you, it's nice. They take care of it now. It says, as people were racially segregated in daily life and education, business, leisure, and worship, So were they kept apart in death in cemeteries across the nation. So that wasn't something that was just going on in Atlanta, man. During that time in the 60s, 50s, 40s, that was pretty much national. Well, I'm not laughing. Y'all know that's my nervous laugh, y'all. Forgive me. I'm probably gonna cut that out. If I don't, forgive me. It says many whites maintain that segregation provided separate but equal conditions for both races. But in reality, African Americans were often forced to accept inferior facilities and services. Oakland Cemetery's African American burial grounds reflected this inequality. The sloping grounds, located near the lowest point in the cemetery, easily flooded and were not maintained to the same standards as the rest of the cemetery. So you see how it slopes down. So all of that water would just build up on the graves at the bottom of the hill. In a society dominated by racial prejudice, even the most successful and accomplished African Americans could neither buy nor earn the right to be treated equally with whites, even in death. You can learn more about Atlanta's African American history at oaklandcemetery.com. Y'all, that is crazy. That is crazy. This was definitely an upgrade from the, from the little corner that they had, and then the Paupers Field. This is Mr. and Mrs. Matthews. Your birthday just passed. Happy belated birthday. Look at the headstones over here. Wow. African American voices. Oh, you got to call the number to see who's resting over here. But I must say, the renovation of this area is totally beautiful. But this is where the Paupers Field comes into play. This is where the people that were removed from their resting area was placed with no markers, nothing. Literally hundreds and hundreds of people. This field in the back here. Where my man is playing fetch with his Doberman Pinscher. Man, it was a dirty time back then, y'all. A dirty world back then. Oh, this is beautiful. This is still the African American portion of the cemetery. This is Oliviette Eugenia Smith Allison, 1923 to 2010. Fourth director of Carrie Steele Pitt's home. That's beautiful. In memory of Carrie Steele Logan. What's it say? Mother of orphans. Died December 14th, 1904. So they've built drainage now, but at one point in time there was no drain. So like all this land would flood whenever it would have heavy rains in the city. But this here is the Paupers Field. Look at these 3 headstones. It's like they're just sitting there by themselves. To all the resting souls out here, I hope you're resting in peace. I would just like everyone to know that you are not forgotten, despite what may have happened. There are people definitely keeping your story alive. Y'all, it's getting windy over here. It's getting real windy over here. Forgive me if it's real windy. Well, I can't do nothing about it. I gotta take that up with G-Man. Or God, as you may call him. Nah. That's a beautiful Doberman, though. But yeah, so this is the Poppers Field. All of this land is filled with bodies of people who are resting. Some who were initially laid to rest here, and others who were taken from their resting place and forced to move here. To all those resting, we come in love, peace, and respect. And if this space looks any familiar to you all, it's because our nanas are literally right over here. Our nanas are right over there, y'all. But yeah, that is the story of how the city of Atlanta, allowed greed to cloud their judgment on what's morally correct. And so now you have a field full of people that you don't even know their names. But the thing about it, we actually found some records that shows the names of some of the people that were originally buried in the slave square. Here we go, right here. A memorial to the citizens of Atlanta who rest in unmarked graves. I love that they refer to them as citizens of Atlanta. Blessings, blessings, blessings. I'm gonna do a sweep with the SLS camera while I'm out here. I don't know. Just want to see what I can see. Let's try it. What's up, Graveyard Shift family? Let's do a graveyard sweep. I feel like that's just a tree. I don't know. Okay, that's what that tree looks like being mapped out. Why is there nothing? Let me go back this way now. Let's go back to that other tree. Why does everywhere we go that has something to do with slaves, it seems like there's an anomaly from a tree? This is the tree where it originally was. Okay, maybe it's just a branch. Oh. What do y'all think? Why is it giving head, arm, legs? Let's look at another tree. Nothing on that tree. Even my finger is registering. Nothing on that tree. Nothing on any of those back there. It's only right here. Even as I'm moving the camera, the positioning of the camera is still popping up. Right there in that same spot. See, this is what it looks like, and I'm right up on this tree. See, you don't get arm, leg, head. See? See? Nothing. See, that's still trying to map out. Okay, is that giving you a little head? Oh man, that was so bad. I did not mean like that. I meant like, is that giving you a little bit of head, shoulder, arms? God forgive me, I didn't mean that. I had to pause myself with that. As it came out my mouth, I was like, that don't even sound right. But I meant, is it giving us a little bit of like body? Or is it more like just line mapping? I blame y'all for the dirty mouth. See, that's the tree. But let's go back to this one. Let's see if anything bounces back on this tree over here. You know what? Let's just go down there and sit on that bench and just see what the energy's like. Alright, we're underneath the tree. Of course, we're getting all the little branches. I'm gonna try to have a little session real quick. Let's just see. All right, family. We're sitting in the middle of the poppers field, right underneath the tree that it looked like an anomaly could have been, maybe hanging around. But I'm not sure. But what we do know is there's a whole bunch of black folks buried in this field in unmarked graves. So I kind of would just like to, just see what the energy's like, what type of session we would get. It's a little windy, it's a little loud, so forgive me. My name is Dalen. I come in peace, love, and respect. I try to come to places like this and speak to those who may not have been spoken to in a really long time. I can hear you from this box. Please feel free to speak to me. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to me? Can you tell me your name?
Remember us.
Said remember us.
Can you try?
We will always remember you all. Can you tell me your name? I heard the story about the people that were removed from their graves and brought over here. Are any of those people around me right now? Say yeah. Well, we're trying to pay respect to those that were moved. Say good looking. No problem, brother. Can you tell me your name? I know I ask that question a lot, but I just really want to hear you so I can address you as such. How do you feel about this land? what's considered a pauper's field. At this point, it feels like a really nice park. Should I like you? Well, I like you too. So you sound like hospitality. Can you tell me anything about your life? Were you ever in love? Are you resting with your loved ones? People that were removed, were you buried with your loved ones here? What do you think should happen to the people that made that decision for you? You said they deal with you? Oh, wow. So you probably ran across the people that did that in the afterlife now, huh? Did you ever address them? So all is well? Very forgiving of you, for sure. Is everyone in this field at peace right now?
Good.
You said you're good? Okay. Do other spirits from this cemetery come and visit you over here? How did you feel about this resting community being segregated?
History is late.
So it said history is lame. That was clear. Progress. Exactly. How do you feel about the progress? Thank you for being the pioneers of that progress. Is there anyone else that has something to say to me?
Good.
Well, do you mind if I come back and visit you from time to time? Well, awesome. It feels like it's about to start raining. You think so? Can you tell the weather? Can you predict the weather? I was just wondering. I was just curious. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much. Well, there you have it, folks. There you have it. It seems like the spirits here resting just want to be remembered. They acknowledge that it's a messed up thing what happened, and it seems like they're not holding no grudges on the other side. Wow. To even be wrong and still forgive, that's powerful. Dang. It was definitely a different times back then. Definitely a different time. Let me know what you think about this history, y'all. I just wanted to bring some of this history to the forefront, tell you some stories you might not have ever known, and just tell you some stuff that I found out when doing my research. Love, love, love. See you tomorrow.